All right, Steven, who's your favorite superhero?
I'd have to go with Batman.
And why do you like him?
Because he always sticks to his city and he sticks up for his friends and he doesn't really have like a given superpower. He just does what he can.
Okay.
Many people.
All right, Stu, who's your favorite superhero? Someone different.
Probably Deadpool because he's not afraid to kill people like Batman is.
Okay. Not exactly the answer I was looking for, but we love superheroes collectively. We read books about them, we watch movies about them, kids watch cartoons, comics, they buy action figures, and when we think of superheroes, we think of this man or woman who has superpowers and accomplishes a lot of good, takes an admirable stand for justice. Batman may be the sole exception to the superpowers part, but we still think of him as Gotham City's savior. He takes an admirable stand against crime and follows his own self-imposed code of ethics to do so. However, this ordinary man turned hero has some flaws that we choose to ignore. He operates above the law, he planned to murder his parents' killer, he befriends a thief, and invades people's privacy. Bruce Wayne grew up in a wealthy and well-respected family. His father was known by many to be a great man and also a good businessman. He imposes or helps his son learn some of the values. Like one day when Bruce asks about a train that he built, and his dad says, well, this city's given us a lot, Bruce. It was time for us to give something back. Unfortunately, Bruce's parents died when he's very young, so he's raised by his brother, Alfred. But Alfred also continues providing his now almost adopted son with morals. Alfred always asks him when he stumbles, he says, why do we fall, Bruce? So we can learn to pick ourselves up again, being resilient. Bruce decides very early on, that he's going to have strong morals. When he's training with the League of Shadows and his final task is to kill a man who's supposedly done wrong, Bruce refuses to do so, saying he won't kill him. He deserves justice. And finally, in the third movie, we also see him say he's willing to give everything for his city, willing to die for it, by saying to Catwoman, I haven't given the city everything yet. And that just shows the kind of selfless person that Bruce is, or Batman is too. However, he's also an ordinary man turned vigilante. And the problem with that is it kind of taints all the good he does. He operates above the law. In all three movies, the police are fighting to capture Batman, and he never turns himself in. He tries to once, but it never ends up happening. And that creates a lot of problems. Vigilantism can ruin society's rules. It only applies so far. Only a couple people can be a vigilante before it becomes an outbreak of people just breaking the law. In the second movie, we see people impersonate Batman and do so poorly, and he has to save them. And when he does so, he says, stay at home, don't do this. And they say, well, what gives you the right to be Batman and not me? And he said, well, I'm not wearing hockey pads. Well, practically, the idea that his wealth allows him to be a vigilante makes sense, but ethically, that statement does not hold. Also, in the first film, he plans to murder the killer of his parents. He was about 7 or 8 when it happened. The man got them in an alley and killed the father and mother and left Bruce to mourn. 15 years later, there's a hearing for the man to be released early due to good behavior and having information about a crime war. Bruce shows up to the hearing planning to murder him. He never gets the chance because someone else does from the mob. And he's forced to admit to Rachel, his good friend, that his parents deserve justice and that he was going to kill them. And she says to him, you're not talking about justice, you're talking about revenge. And Bruce says, kind of self-admits to himself, I'm not one of those good people that I need to be. In the third film, he helps a thief. This is Catwoman. She's trying to escape her former life, and there's this thing called the clean slate out there. Batman offers the clean slate at the end of the movie in return for her help. The problem with this is that she's a criminal. And it doesn't matter that she would use the clean slate only for her own benefit to start anew and start an honorable life and not to help other thieves not get caught. It's that Batman has committed himself to trusting the justice system and trusting that people who do wrong need to be brought into justice. And in the second film, he has his most competent and evil villain yet, and that's the Joker. And Batman struggles the entire movie to just keep up with the Joker. He can't get ahead, he can't capture him, nothing goes right. And at the end, he builds a device that turns every phone in the city into a microphone so you can track the Joker. this device is a huge invasion of people's privacy without their knowledge. And Batman gives this to Fox, his good friend and business partner, and Fox says to him, this is wrong. No one should have this kind of power. Batman claims, well, it's just a one-time thing, I have to do it, but one time is still one too many. After telling you guys this stuff, I don't necessarily believe that you're going to now think that Batman is evil. I get it, he's still a hero. So why do we still like him, even knowing this stuff? I think that's because we understand why he did what he did, and we empathize with him. He's a vigilante perhaps because he wants to do good at the beginning, but the entire justice system of Gotham City is broken. He wants to kill his parents' murderer because he witnessed them die, and we would understand the anger that he would still have at that time. He wants to help a thief because a bomb is going to explode in Gotham City in the next 12 hours, and if he doesn't do anything about it, millions of people will die. And finally, he builds this device that invades privacy because there's no other way to catch the most evil man that Batman has ever known. Again, Batman's not an evil character. I agree, he's done a lot of good. And it's okay to idolize him in the movies. Well, let's leave it there and recognize that in real life he would present a lot of problems.